Welcome to this video for Publisher exercise number 4. So we're going to be learning a few things here today. A couple of terms to keep in mind. They talk about in Publisher a story, and that's the idea. The text in a text box plus any text box that are linked to it, and we're going to be talking about that more in this exercise, a little bit more in other ones as well, are called a story. And so a story in Publisher can span several text boxes on multiple pages, so like how you would in a magazine or a newspaper. And that's the idea. You're going to have multiple text boxes, and of course all of them are objects. We learned that in our last exercise. And so each one can be linked together and be a part of a story. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit here with it. Now, when you choose a template, oftentimes it'll have a text box for you all ready to go, and you can see I made some text boxes here. But there'll be times where you want to make your own text box. Maybe you're starting from scratch. Maybe you want to add to. And there's a few ways you can do it. You could click on the Insert tab and go find it there. But on the Home tab in the Objects group, we see Draw Text Box. And you can click on that, and you just click and drag. So you can see now my cursor is changed to this plus sign. I click and drag, and it makes that rectangle. And I can choose the size and make it just like that. It's very simple. Now, once you place a new text box to type it, you'll notice my insertion point is already there, and I can start typing and do those things with it. Remember, the insertion point is that flashing line. That means whatever you type is going to appear where that line is. That's why it's called that. So insertion point. Now, there's a few things you can do for changing the text. I could go over here and manually adjust it, but really what's best for Publisher is to choose Text Fit and Best Fit. So you can see I'm in Text Box Tools format. It comes up automatically when you select your text box. I also could right click, and there's different options here. I could choose Change Text, and then you can choose from font and things like that. So there's a few ways you could do it. So, and Best Fit is right up here. Do not auto fit, grow text box to fit, or shrink text. So there's a few options for what you want to do. Maybe you type in a few words and you realize, oh, I need it smaller, or maybe I need it bigger. But you have a lot of options you can do. Most of the time, you'll be using AutoFit. So there's that as well. Then you also have inserting a symbol. And sometimes you're going to want to do that. Maybe it's a copyright symbol. And some of them you can just type in. So for instance, for the copyright symbol, I can just do opening parenthesis, C, closing parenthesis, and I type space, and it puts it in for me. But if it's a symbol that you can't just type, or maybe you don't want to type it, the way you would put it in, you would click the Insert tab, and then you're going to go over here to our text group. So you can see there's Draw Text Box. That's what I talked about earlier. And you're going to choose from Symbol. Now there's some that are already up there. There's the ones that you use on a regular basis. There's the one that they'll think you're going to use. If you don't want those, you can click More Symbols, and you have lots of options. You can choose the font, you can choose a subset, and of course then they have all these different ones here for you to choose from, for you to scroll through. There's also a Special Characters tab on the back, and that one gives you most of the ones you're going to use on a regular basis. And so those are all right there. And then once you select which one you want, so maybe I want this one right here, I just go down to here and click Insert, and it will put it in for me. Very easy to use. Now, of course, we can check our spelling. If you need to check the spelling in your document, you push F7 is a good way to do that. And of course, it'll say Publisher has finished checking this story. Do you want to check the rest of your publication? I'll click Next. I start at the bottom, and of course, it's good to go. So it's a good thing to check because you can lose points for not spelling things correctly. It's important you do that. Now, you can change your different options for spelling, and so we're going to show you how to do that here. So I click on File, and then you'll notice I've Edit Business Information, Run Design Checker, Manage Embedded Fonts, but really down at the bottom of this list on the left side is Options, and I'm going to click on Options, and this is where you have your general options, and then there's Proofing, and this is where you can change the stuff with the spelling. So change how Publisher corrects and formats text as you type, so autocorrect options. You have different things here as well. Ignore words in uppercase, ignore words that contain numbers, flag repeated words, and then you have different options, custom dictionaries, and of course all these different options. So we may end up changing them in general, you're not going to mess with these settings unless it's a private personal computer. So you're more than likely completing this exercise on a computer that's not owned by you. It's one that you maybe use as a regular basis through school or things like that. So it's important that unless you're instructed by your teacher to change it, don't change it. Okay? Because you don't want to mess it up for other students and then make it so that the teacher has to go in, or whoever's taking care of the computer, and change it back, because maybe they know how to do it, maybe they don't. So please keep that in mind as we're learning this. But that's how you look at it. That's how you do that. All right, so let's get started here with our exercise. So we need to open up Pub 04. So I'm going to choose File, Close. You're going to choose to open a file. So Open. I'm going to choose Browse like usual and go to where I have it saved because I downloaded it from Plus Portals. So this is an alphabetized list. So Pub 04 is right down here. I'm going to click on that and choose Open. And we, of course, have this file right here. First thing we got to do is save it with a different name. So let's choose File, Save As. Now remember, if your folder appears in this list, you can easily click on here. If it doesn't, you got to click on Browse and make sure you go to the right folder as soon as possible. Right now mine's in Downloads, but I don't want to save it there. I want to save it to the folder that I need to, or maybe my flash drive. So I'm going to click Documents, and I'm choosing my folder that I'm saving it to, and then save it. Don't save it before, you're going to mess yourself up. Then change your file name here to 04go underscore your initials. 04go underscore your initials, and save it. Alright, now the first thing it says, add a text box at the top of the flyer immediately beneath the top green line. So here's our top green line. We're going to add it under it. It says if the text you are typing is too small to read, press F9 key to zoom in. Well, we're not going to do that. But what we're going to do is we are going to create that text box. So I'm going to click on this here, and I'm going to basically, it says right under this one, so I'm kind of just going to click here and drag it down and fill in basically how this was, like that. So my text box looks like this. Now we may bring it in a little bit more. I am going to switch it to best fit. So right here, you'll notice as soon as we made it, these options came up. Let's go over here to text fit and choose best fit. It's going to make it easier to read as you type. Now it says add another text box between the two existing text boxes and type the text in as shown. So you know I actually got ahead of myself. I do need to make this shorter. And we're going to add another text box here in a little bit. So I'm going to go, let's go with about 2 inches for right now. About maybe 1.5 inches here. And then we're going to make another text box. So I'm going to choose Home, Draw Text Box, and let's draw it under the one we just made and actually have it go down to what we were doing before. So that's the nice thing with it. You can easily adjust the text boxes. Remember, do text fit, best fit, so we can actually read it, because we're going to be typing some information here in this text box. So now that we've done that, we've added it in. It says type in the text as it's shown in illustration A. So I'm going to go and type this in for you. And it says make the same spelling errors as shown. So I'm going to be putting some spelling errors in here, and you're going to need to do that. So think geology is boring. You notice I got to type it twice. Question mark. Think again. Come meet new friends and discover what the geology club, notice I'm misspelling that, has planned for this semester, including, enter, geode hunts, enter, discovery expeditions, merchandise giveaways from cool rocks, fossil swaps, how exciting, rock polishing equipment demonstrations, a chance to attend the NGA convention as a delegate, wherever that is, and much, much more. So it's going to look like this. I have some specific errors in here. Make sure you have those. If you need to, pause and then move on, because we're going to move on here with the next step. Now it says insert a registered trademark symbol after the phrase Cool Rocks, and it's right down here. So merchandise giveaways from Cool Rocks. I'm going to click after it. There's my insertion point, and let's insert that symbol. So we're going to go to the Insert tab. We're going to choose Symbol, and then it says Trademark is what we need to include. It's actually right here in our list. So let's click that. So we got TM there. Correct the spelling for geology with the right-click method. So when you are geology, so right up here, this top part, if you right-click, you can choose the correct option here. It makes some suggestions for you. Now it says right-click on rock. So we go back down here. It says choose ignore all because it's a brand name. So it's misspelled on purpose. So ignore all, and you can see that red line goes away. Now it says turn off the display of spelling errors on screen. Now the way to do that, we go File, Options, and then we have to go to Proofing. And then right down here below, when correcting spelling in Publisher, it says hide spelling and grammar errors. We're going to turn that off. Or excuse me, turn this on to hide it. And then click OK. The reason being, what we're going to do is we're going to use our spell check for the rest of them. So I'm going to push F7 now. And you can see, of course, repeated word. We're going to go and get rid of that. So push delete. You can see plan needs to be plan. So I'm going to click change. And then, of course, click OK. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set this text box for best fit. We already did that, so we're good to go. We need to save it. We're going to choose to print it. So File, Print. Remember Microsoft Print to PDF. That's the printer you're choosing. And we're going to choose the Print button right here. We're going to save it with the same name. So 04 GO underscore your initials. And then after we've done that, we can close out this one and open up our next file. So File, Close, and then let's, I can click Save. When you print it to PDF, sometimes it does that. Click Open, and then we're going to choose Browse because we're going to go to our downloads where we got the file from, and it's going to be OPUB04. OPUB04. So right here, select that, choose Open. And there's our car wash file. Now you can see each time it's rearranged a little bit. They did it this certain way. We don't have to do it that way. It's completely fine. Now we do need to save the file though with a new name. It shouldn't be OPUB. So let's do File, Save As. Don't click the Save button. And remember, you can click on it over here if it appears. Otherwise, you need to click Browse and go find it. Make sure you save in the right folder. Don't save it in Downloads. Now, you've heard me say this a bunch of times, and you're like, Mr. Rogers, when are you going to stop saying this? Well, I keep having students who mess it up. So do it the right way. So 04 wash is what we're going to be naming it, and of course, underscore your initials. So 04 wash underscore your initials. Now it says place a new text box in the flyer in the blank space. So we've got a blank space basically right here. So let's go and make a text box. So I'm going to click on it. And we'll start about right here. It's going to overlap this a little bit. And basically, we want it to match about what is appearing over here. Now, it says set the text box or text in the new box to best fit. So I'm going to go up here to text fit, best fit. And it also helps you to read it as well. Now, we need to type in the following. A benefit for the Cutler College Women's Rugby Team. So benefit for it. Now it appears in black letters. That's okay. Just leave it how it is. We're going to fix it later on in a different exercise. So we already set it to best fit. We're good to go there. Now we do need to correct all the spelling errors in all the text boxes. So push F7. You'll notice we've got and help. So we got two of those. Let's delete that. It also says college. We misspelled it. We only have one L. We don't want to go to college. And of course here Official colors Goldie and Purr, we need to switch it to golden. And then for Winford, it looks like we can leave that because it is a street name. So let's ignore that. And of course, spell check is complete. So easy to do, very simple. One thing you'll notice here, we're going to fix this a little later on. You can see this is kind of cutting off the word. We'll fix that. Part of it is the box is a little too small. So at this point, it would need to be adjusted. We'll leave it for now. Add a trademark symbol after Stanley Crafts for the down here. So it talks about Stanley Crafts parking lot. So we're going to add a trademark symbol. So I click right after it. Remember, we go to the Insert tab up here at the top, choose Symbol from the text group, and then of course we choose Trademark right here. Voila. Easy to do. Then we have to save our work. You do not have to print this file. So remember, for this exercise, number 4, you had to submit 04 wash with your initials, and of course that's the publisher file. And then you had 04 geo and your initials, the publisher file, and also the PDF. So 3 files total for you to complete publisher exercise number 4.